Hi, I'm Dave Vickers and welcome to the Photo Show. In today's episode, we're doing the next part of our basic photography course. In a previous episode, we were looking at aperture and we were explaining how the aperture within your lens can be opened and closed to control the amount of light that passes through to reach the sensor to create an image. If you missed that episode, I'll put a link up here and you can click straight to that and go back and see that one. In that episode, not only were we explaining how aperture is used to control the amount of light that passes through the lens, but also to control the depth of field within your image. So what I'm going to do in today's episode is look at depth of field and explain it in more detail. Now, depth of field is one of these areas that can be confusing when you're starting out in photography. And I think it's mainly to do with the way that the F numbers are described. As we were explaining in the previous episode, the smaller the F number, the larger the aperture is. And the larger the F number, the smaller the aperture is. So it kind of goes against common sense. You have a small number for a large aperture and a large number for a small aperture. So what I'm going to do in this episode, to explain depth of field, we're going to make it much simpler. And what we're going to say is a small F number results in a small depth of field. A large F number results in a larger depth of field. So therefore, an F number of something like 2.8 is a small number, so therefore gives a small depth of field. An F number of F22 is a large number and therefore gives a large depth of field. So to demonstrate how different apertures will affect the depth of field within your image, let's go out into the garden and take some photographs. So to try and demonstrate depth of field, what I've done is I've made a little setup in the garden. I was trying to get a supermodel in, but none of them were available. So what we're going to have to put up with is an umbrella stand and a football. What we're going to do is we're going to balance this on the top there. And our football is going to take the place of our subject. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to photograph the football as our subject with the flowers behind, and I'm going to photograph it at f22, which is going to give us a large depth of field. The way to remember this is the larger the F number, the larger the depth of field. The smaller the F number, the smaller the depth of field. So let's start by photographing this at f22. So the first shot here is at f22. As you can see from that shot, not only have we got the subject in focus, but we've also got the flowers in focus as well. So we've got detail in the front and the back. And it's fine if that's what you want, but to be able to make the subject stand out from the background, you're going to need to use a shallower depth of field. So let's go completely at the opposite end now. We'll photograph this at f2.8. There you go, at f2.8 you can see that the subject is sharp, but the background is now blurring out of focus, and it's helping the subject to stand out more from the background. And this doesn't just work on your foreground subject. If you want to have the flowers sharp but the subject blurred out, you could do that. If you just pick your point of focus as the flowers rather than the subject, then the subject will be blurred and the flowers will be sharp. So let's try that one. Again, we're at 2.8. And you can see there we've done exactly the same, but this time the foreground is blurred rather than the background. So the point of focus will dictate where your depth of field will start from. The other thing that will affect the depth of field is how far away the subject is from the background. If I now move this another 5 feet away from the flowers, I'll show you what difference that makes. So now what we've done, we've increased the distance between our subject and the background, and that will increase the effect of the depth of field. So let's shoot this again at 2.8. And you can see now we're getting the subject sharp, but the background is far more blurred out than it was even when we were at 2.8 closer up. The distance between the subject and the background has made quite a large difference to the depth of field within the image. So let's do the same again at f22 just to demonstrate what that looks like. And you can see there at f22 the subject is sharp and the background is sharp. So that's giving us a large depth of field. It's a larger F number, so it's giving us a larger depth of field. A smaller F number gives us a smaller depth of field. So let's do a few shots of varying different apertures just to show you the difference. That is basically showing you how aperture controls the depth of field within your image. This is at f5.6. f11. And at f16. Simple. What I'm going to do, just show you a more practical demonstration, is I'm going to photograph this flower. First I'm going to photograph it at f22, so the background will be in focus and it will have a large depth of field. And then I'll photograph it at f2.8, so it'll have a shallow depth of field. And this will demonstrate how you can use depth of field to isolate your subject from the background. Okay, so the first shot here is going to be at f22. You can see there we've got a deep depth of field. The background is still in focus and the flower is getting lost amongst the background. It's not standing out as much as it should do. So if we now try that at f2.8, you can see now that the flower is standing out much more against the blurred background and is becoming much more the focal point of your image. Now we've looked at a practical demonstration of how aperture affects the depth of field within your image. I hope you've got a bit more of an understanding of how this actually works. But again, the most basic way to remember it is a small f number will give a small depth of field, a larger f number will give a larger depth of field. And the basic idea of using depth of field is to help the subject within your image stand out. If you're taking a portrait, the subject in your image is the main point of focus. What's in the background doesn't really matter. So the ability to be able to blur that out and have your subject be the main focal point of your image is very important. If you're taking a landscape and you want everything to be in sharp focus from the foreground way into the background to show the distance and the scale of what you're photographing, then a small aperture and a large depth of field will help you do that. Now we've done a practical demonstration and we've explained why you'd want to vary the depth of field depending on the type of image you're taking. Just to finish off, I'm going to do a quick demonstration just to show you exactly why a different size aperture will have an effect over the depth of field within your image. So just to finish off, what I'm going to do is show a really quick demonstration of exactly why changing the aperture affects the depth of field within your image. Now, there's probably people out there that have a physics degree that could explain this far better than I can, but this is a very simple, basic way of explaining what's actually going on when you change the aperture in your camera. So let's start off, let's draw out a couple of apertures here. So let's start off with a larger aperture like this. Okay, and we're going to say that is f2.8. And down below we'll draw out a smaller aperture. And we're going to say this is f22. So we have two apertures represented. We have a large aperture, which gives a small depth of field, f2.8, and we have a smaller aperture, which gives a larger depth of field, f22. Again, easiest way to remember it, small number, small depth of field, large number, larger depth of field. Carrying on, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to represent this as if it's looking side on. So let's do the edges there. So this is the two edges of our aperture here looking side on. And we're going to do exactly the same here. So the gap in between here represents the opening of the aperture. Now when you're at school, you probably remember in science being taught that light travels in straight lines. So let's draw in the light travelling through these two different apertures. So let's go there. This is the light travelling through the aperture. And we did the same on the f22 aperture as well. So this is the light travelling through the aperture. Okay, now in both these examples you can see there's a point where the light crosses. And this is your focus point. This is where your camera is focused. So that is your focus point there. And once again, that is your focus point there. Now, as we were saying, light travels in straight lines, and when it's coming through a wider aperture, like f2.8, you can see that the light's coming through at quite a steep angle. And it's converging on the focal point, and then away from the focal point, at quite a sharp rate. There's quite a distance, it's coming in at quite a steep angle, converging on the focus point, and then diverging away. And on the smaller aperture, you can see it's coming in at a much shallower angle to the focus point, and then diverging away in a much shallower angle. Now what's happening here is, the closer these lines are together, the sharper your image is. So where the lines are converging there is your focus point. That's where you focus on your subject. That point there is where you're focused. And as you can see here, On the wider aperture, the light disperses away from the focus point at quite a sharp rate. So the area that is actually in focus with a wider aperture is much smaller. And that area there is your depth of field. You can see on the smaller aperture, which gives a greater depth of field, that the lines are converging and they're closer together for a greater distance, meaning that the image remains sharper for a deeper distance, therefore giving a deeper depth of field. So there you go, that's the very basic explanation of why changing your aperture affects the depth of field within your image. On a wider aperture, the light is coming in at a much steeper angle, converging on the focal point, and then dispersing away much quicker than it is on a smaller aperture, where the light is coming at a much shallower angle and therefore much closer together for a longer distance around the focal point. So that is a basic explanation of how depth of field works. So there we go, hopefully we've explained depth of field in as simpler way as possible. If you still have any questions, please leave them in the comments below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. For now, I'm Dave Vickers, this is The Photo Show, please stay safe and well, and we'll see you in the next episode.